It's time for the ultimate speaker showdown. Which portable speaker will come out on top? Let's battle it out. You need to hold my hands up. Is it a volume button?
Not a hermit, of course. Hi guys, it's Jonathan and Louis from Smart Home Sounds. Hope you're all keeping well. Now today's video is going to be a portable speaker showdown. So we're going to be comparing all of these 4 speakers. It's been a highly requested video because since our last Sonos Roam review, we've been inundated with questions and comparison requests with all of the most popular portable speakers. So here we've got the Ultimate Ears Boom 3, we've got the JBL Flip 5, the Sonos Roam and the Marshall Emberton. So they all come under the £100 to £150 price range just to make sure it's a level playing field.
So what we're going to be doing today is comparing these 4 portable speakers across a range of different topics from design, portability, sound quality and all those sorts of things. And what's going to be interesting about this video in particular is that me and Jonathan are after very different things in our portable speakers. For me, I'm quite an outdoorsy person, so I'm after a speaker that I can just pick up, take out and about. It's hardware and it's durable, waterproof, all that kind of thing. And then Jonathan's after something with a little bit more, I guess, sort of preference towards sort of sound quality.
Yeah, more kind of home audio. I like to spend, well, I spend a lot of time at home. I'm not a hermit, of course, but I do take pride in sound quality. Features are really important. The more features, the better. And I do like it to look good as well. So I'm quite fussed about that, really. It is important to know that, obviously me and Louis we are going to have different opinions. So this is a troll-free zone. So if your opinion differs, then don't troll us. And yeah, just keep it nice and friendly.
So as we've said, guys, myself and Jonathan, we're looking for completely different things in these portable speakers. So we're going to have very different preferences over which ones we would go for. So let us know in the comments below. Are you Team Louis or are you Team Jonathan? And also let us know if you have the choice between these 4 speakers, which one out of these are you choosing?
Yeah, so it's important to know that there are, of course, loads of other portable speaker options on the market. We've just taken a cross-section of the most popular portable speakers that we've been requested. For example, the JBL Charge 5 is actually more in line with the Sonos Roam's price point, but the Flip 5 that we've got here is actually more requested from you guys, so we thought we'd just use that.
So we're going to be rating these 4 portable speakers out of 10 across 5 categories. So we're going to be having a look at the design and build quality, the sound, the features, the portability and durability, and of course the battery life.
Okay, so let's move on to the actual stars of the video. Okay, so in front of us we've got the Sonos Roam, which is new for 2021, and it's a portable speaker from Sonos and it has an RRP of £159. The JBL Flip 5, that has an RRP of £119, but the price has actually dropped to around £90 at the time of filming this video. Though different colour options do vary in price from £89 to up to £119. The Ultimate Ears Boom 3 is priced at £129 with variations in pricing for different colour options. And finally, the Marshall Emberton was priced at £129, but it is actually available at the moment for £119.
So I think a good place to start then, comparing these 4 speakers, we'll take a look at the design.
Yeah.
So I think, why don't we start with the UE Boom? So this one here, cylindrical design, something that we see quite often across a range of different portable speakers, not only the ones we've got here, but plenty of others that are available on the market. I think one of the things very obvious straight away, you've got these really apparent volume controls, massive controls here. And you've also got the magic button on the top as well, which something for me, I don't know, I personally quite like that. Something minimalistic, there's not too much going on. For me, I'm just thinking in terms of going out and about and all that kind of thing. I mean, I know where my controls are, that's something that I quite prefer, but...
Yeah, I mean, the volume control, I really like the volume controls. I mean, you can't miss those. You're not going to miss those, and you can press them almost anywhere, and you can feel it click. The magic button, I'm not so sure about. When I'm more used to having separate buttons, like on the Sonos Roam, you can clearly see the play, pause, the volume buttons, the microphone and things like that. One button to cover all, that's going to be down to personal taste. So if we take a closer look at the back of the Ultimate Ears Boom as well, you can see you've got this quite tiny hook. Now, I personally don't know what it's for. You might be able to hook it onto a rucksack somehow. I don't know about...
Again, yeah, no, see, for me, this is where these differences come in, because that's something that I would actually look for and something that appeals to me across these portable speakers. Because, I mean, I can just hook a carabiner onto the end of this, chuck it on the back of a rucksack, and I'm good to go. And that's also something that I quite like here on this one, the Flip 5 as well. And I know, obviously, don't get me wrong, you can probably find some sort of third-party attachments, a sleeve or something you can do that with on the Roam. But I actually do quite like having that that attachment there. And I think for me, looking across the four of them, what one would I say is probably one of the more sort of premium designs. As much as I like the sort of the overall design of the U-Beam, again, the Roam for me, something that feels quite nicely made. It feels a little bit more premium than some of the other options that we've got here. But I think that's one of the biggest things, again, is the sort of like the versatility of the design. I mean, having the Emberton kind of upright, it just doesn't really look right. Whereas these, you can kind of, you can lay them flat, you can stand them up. So they're just there's a little bit more sort of versatility in the overall design of those in comparison to something
I must
like the
say,
Emberton.
this multi-directional control knob on the Marshall is one of the best things about the design of this speaker. I mean, you push it and it's just quality. It really is quality. Would you agree? Like, you feel that?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no getting away from that. I think the thing is with the overall design with the Emberton is that it's one of those things. It's going to be like Marmite to a lot of people, right? I mean, the portable speakers, they all seem to kind of take this sort of cylindrical design, and then the Emberton is something a little bit different. Obviously, it plays on that iconic shape with their amplifiers. I mean, even if you remove the Marshall logo, you know what brand made that. So I think there's no getting away from that. But I think it is one of those speakers that people are going to have completely different preferences on. Some people are going to love it, and some people are going to hate it.
I would say if you've had Marshall components before, like you've had like a Marshall amplifier, you'll know this well and good. I personally love it. One thing that's also worth pointing out, I think, is battery life indicators. Now, I find that really useful on a portable speaker. So on the JBL, I'd say that they've done that really well. You've actually got a light which shows you and the Marshall as well. They both have battery life indicators that shows you exactly how much battery you've got left. On the Ultimate Ears, it doesn't actually tell you. You have to press a button and it will tell you how much battery life you've got left, or you can check in the app. The Roam, it's just got like an orange light that appears on the front of the speaker just to tell you that it's low battery, but you can check the exact battery life in the Sonos app.
So taking these four portable speakers just at face value, when it comes to just design only, my favorite has got to be the JBL Flip 5. This, for me, I think this is the most aesthetically pleasing speaker in my personal point of view. I know the Emberton kind of goes completely away from the more sort of traditional cylindrical shapes of the portable speakers, but this is definitely my favorite. I like the fact that you've got these buttons here on the top. We've got play, pause, volume up, that kind of thing. But I also like that we've got the illuminated power button and Bluetooth button on the back. So, and we've also got the battery life indicator. So that, for me, plays a little sound when it starts up as well, which is always nice. That, for me, has got to be my favorite in terms of design. And I also, again, coming back to the fact that we've got this little hook on here so I can attach like carabiners to that, tie it up to my rucksack, that kind of thing. For my personal preference, that has got to be the one that I would go for, purely on a design basis, out of the four that we've got.
Do you know why I wouldn't even put that like second, third? I mean, it doesn't even sit straight when it's vertically oriented. Look at that. I mean, for God's sake. I would say the Roam, for me, that has the most premium aesthetic. I think they've really designed it. I mean, you look at it and it's definitely a Sonos product. It gives you that sense of quality. I do think, though, the Marshall slightly pips it for me because I'm more into that sort of vintage aesthetic. If it was just design alone, I would definitely take the Emberton. Although I think the Roam comes a close second, followed by the Boom for me, because I think it just looks really, rugged and aesthetic. And then the JBL, I think it just starts.
So you're going last for the
Yeah,
the
I'm going
JBL's
last. I'm going last. Well, kind of last with the Ultimate Ears. I just think it looks a bit standard.
No, fine. So I mean, already there, we've got a huge difference between our sort of personal preferences and, again, for the sort of things that we're after. So if you were to score these then out of 10, where are you going on what speaker?
I would go all out and put a 9 out of 10 on the Emberton. I'd say Roam comes a close second with 8, and then JBL, Flip 5, and the Ultimate Ears Boom 3, I'd say are on the kind of the same level, 7 or maybe 6.9 because of that vertical.
So for me, out of 10, I'm going 9 for the JBL. I'm then going to go in a close second. I'm going to go for the UE Boom 3. I'm then going to go with the Sonos Roam. I'm going to give it a 7, and then I'm going to finish off with the Emberton. I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10, purely just on design.
So let's move on to sound quality then. Obviously, a really important characteristic of a good portable speaker. Now, obviously, sound quality is very subjective, so keep that in the back of your minds. Now, personally, I prefer the listening experience to be as close as the artist intended to listen to. I know, Louis, you might be a bit different.
Yeah, so for me, I just want something that's loud, it's bassy, it's going to fill an open space, whether I'm out on my mountain bike, camping, whatever it might be. My preference is more just about a loud speaker. The quality, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want something that sounds terrible, but you know, it's more about the volume.
Yeah, it needs to overcome background noise for you, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, for me, I'm more in like quieter locations, and I like to actually listen to the music. So the most amount of information I can get from the speaker, the better for me. Now we are going to do a quick sound test for each of these portable speakers so you can get a flavour of what they each sound like. But do keep in the back of your mind, it's not going to be the most accurate representation, and what we hear now might not translate over to you.
I'm going to tell you that I love you 100 times a day. You'll get tired of my voice, that's how much I'm gonna tell you that I'll miss you. I'll miss you if you go. Yes, I'm gonna let you know just how much I'm gonna tell you that I'll miss you. I'll miss you if you go. Yes, I'm gonna let you know just how much I'm gonna tell you that I'll miss you. I'll miss you if you go.
So let's start should we start with the Emberton?
Yeah.
I think, we've both listened to these speakers God knows how many times, and I think we can both agree that this does produce a slightly different sound to other portable speakers that are available, a slightly warmer sound. But I think one thing, and again, coming back to that wanting something loud, something quite powerful out of a portable speaker, it just doesn't quite match up.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree there. I love the design, but the sound, if you take it up like past 70%, it does struggle, it loses a bit of its bass and its credibility. But lower volumes, I think it sounds really nice. It does retain a lot of the instruments. The vocals sound really crisp and clear. And also you do get the 360-degree sound because there is a grill on the back. So if you're sitting around a campfire or something and you want to project it to everyone, you can do that. Yeah. I mean, it's just not as loud as the other speakers, but still good. I still like it. So if we take a look at the Sonos Roam then, now I think the standout characteristic for me is how well it projects the vocals. We had it in our office and it filled the office really well. Obviously, you do have the option of putting it, horizontal and vertical. I didn't really mind either. It really depends on whatever suits the environment at the time. The bass is really good. I think, it's not as loud bass, but the bass is really tight.
Yeah.
And there is a distinguish to be made there. I think on certainly on the Ultimate Ears Boom 3, it's louder. And it's more powerful bass, but this is tighter, I just think it's overall a better listening experience than the other three.
So I have to agree with you there, Jonathan, on the overall sort of sound quality and the sort of vocal reproduction that you get out of the Sonos Roam. I think it is one of those speakers where, as you mentioned earlier, you want something that's going to reproduce music at a level that the artist sort of intended. You pick up all these extra little things, and I do have to agree with you on that. I think it is a very nice sounding speaker, but for me, I'm kind of more drawn towards the slightly louder, slightly bassier portable speakers. Again, sound quality might not be as good or as clear as you get out of the Roam, but these two here for me are the slightly closer comparison, I think, just because of that level that you can take these speakers to.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in summary, if I had to describe this in one sentence, you get as close as you can possibly get to how the artist intended you to listen to the music in a portable speaker.
Yeah.
So if you're already used to hearing Sonos, maybe if you have Sonos speakers at home, you will be used to how that sounds. And for me, that just sounds really familiar to me. So Louis, you've got to make a decision here between the JBL Flip 5 and the Ultimate Ears Boom 3 for sound quality.
Yeah.
What is it?
I think for me, so we tested these yesterday in the office, different tracks. We really did put these through their paces, cranked it up to 11 out of both of these speakers, and I think they both perform really well. The UE Boom definitely does go a lot louder than the JBL, but for me, I think the overall level of sound quality and reproduction I definitely would have to go with the JBL. I think it just sounds slightly nicer. Again, this is a complete personal preference. Other people will agree, other people will disagree. But I think the overall level of sound quality out of this one at a much higher volume is definitely better out of this one than what it is out of the UE Boom.
Okay, so what are we going for then? What are our scores?
Yeah, so for me, again, like with the overall design, I think I'm going to have to go with the JBL Flip 5. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10, and very closely followed by the UE Boom, which I'm going to give an 8. I'm going to give the Roam a 7, and then I'm going to finish off with the Emberton with a 6.
Fair enough. Right, so my scores, I would say the Emberton and the JBL Flip 5 are quite similar. I obviously do like the fact that you can change these two orientations. You do get a slightly wider soundstage with that. Although the JBL Flip 5 is not my cup of tea. It's nothing against it personally, it's just not my listening experience that I'm used to and one that I prefer. And again, I can't rate the Emberton close to the Roam and the Ultimate Ears Boom 3 because it's just louder volumes, it's not there. But it's still a good listening experience at quieter volumes. So what I'm going to do, rate 6 for the Emberton, 6 for the JBL Flip 5, and then the Roam I would say is up there for me, and 8. The same as the Boom. Obviously it's a little bit louder, but I still think it retains a really, really good listening experience. So I'm going to put those same level at 8. Right then, moving on to features. So Louis, I challenge you to give me a speaker out of these 4 that has more features than the Sonos Roam.
Yeah, I can. I think, undeniably, the Sonos Roam is absolutely packed when it comes to these 4 speakers that we've got here. You've got the Auto True Play, it's got the Bluetooth at 5.0, Wi-Fi capability, all those sorts of things. I mean, when you compare it to these 4 here, there really is features. Yeah. Really only one sort of
I think in the real world, the number one feature with the Sonos Roam is if you've got a Sonos system at home and you take this outdoors into your garden, wherever, and then you take it back in, and you've got that beautiful little sound swap feature, fire it to your closest speaker. It's just seamless. So, it's a lovely little speaker to take out with you, but it just works with your home as well. So that's what I really like. I've got a Sonos system at home. It just fits right in, job done. So you've also got some really other useful features in the Sonos Roam, and you've got stuff like AirPlay 2, you've got 2 voice assistants built in, so you can decide which one you want to use. It's got stereo pairing over Wi-Fi only. I really can't understand why they didn't let people do stereo pairing over Bluetooth, because these two do, and it's not difficult. So I don't understand why they haven't done that. And also a big thing about the Sonos Roam is that you can't use them as rear surrounds to a Sonos TV speaker, because after all, it is meant to be the Sonos home system, and that would be useful. Maybe they do it in the future because it is Wi-Fi, so they can add it as a software update maybe. But yeah, the Bluetooth stereo pairing I think is a real shame.
So I think we're both in agreement then. Yeah, the standout winner, the top of our choice, it's going to be the Sonos Roam.
No surprises there.
But I think we might as well just take a quick look at the other 3 speakers. So we'll start with the UE Boom. So you have got an app that you can use to download features like Party Up. You've got the remote on and off, customizable EQ, music alarm, tap controls, all those sorts of things. And you've also got the ability to connect up to 150 different speakers. I'm not quite sure when that's really going to come in useful for someone like myself and Jonathan. You're probably not going to be making use of that sort of feature.
Well, you're going to need 150 friends who all have that speaker.
Yeah.
So I think chances are.
So I mean, nice feature, but probably something that's not
it's nice to have,
but
it's not essential.
So again, with the Flip 5, similar to what we can see with the UE Boom, not quite 150 speaker level, but you have got the option to pair this with another speaker in sort of party mode. So you've got 2 speakers. If you've got friends come over, whatever, both got the same speakers, connect them up. Just helps to fill that space a little bit more, and that's something for me that's actually quite important. It's all about being outside, parties, that kind of thing, filling those sort of larger spaces. So that is a useful feature, and something that I do look for in some of these portable speakers.
Yeah, so the Emberton, you can't do that. That just comes as it is. You can't stereo pair it. That comes as it is. So you're going to have to like how that sounds. The Roam, obviously, we touched that you can stereo pair over Wi-Fi, but not over Bluetooth. It doesn't have any of the party features like pairing loads together. You can't like daisy chain them. But for me, I don't think that's a massive, omission. For me, I would go maximum stereo pair over Wi-Fi.
So in terms of scoring these then, I think we've made it fairly obvious where our preference is going to be, and that's with the Roam, right? So Jonathan, yourself, what are you giving this out of 10?
I'd say I don't like giving 10s, there's no perfect 10, so we'll settle on a 9.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement, that's a 9 for me as well. So moving down the rest of the speakers that we've got available here then, my next choice is probably going to be the Boom. Again, we've mentioned the couple of features that this comes with. Not all of them are going to be that necessarily useful. Again, pairing with 150 odd speakers as well. But there are a couple of features in there, the customizable EQ in the app and all those kind of things.
I do think that customizable EQ is really handy. So you can do that with the Sonos Roam in the Sonos app. You can do that with the Ultimate Ears. You can't do it with these two. So if you like, to turn up the bass, or if you like to turn up the treble, whatever, then it's really these two that you've got to look at.
Yeah. So out of 10, I'm gonna go for a 6.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a 6 on the Boom. Stepping down one, I'm going to go for a 5 on the JBL, and then finish off with the Emberton. I mean, as you said, it literally is just Bluetooth. There's very little options.
I mean,
in comparison.
there's no sort of features per se with the Marshall. As it comes, it's a Bluetooth portable speaker. It's weather resistant.
Yeah. So what we give it? I'm going to, 3.
Yeah. Let's go for 3.
So now I think it's time that we move over to the portability and durability side of things. So for me, this is a really important factor, something that is a real deal breaker when it comes to choosing a portable speaker. So we'll start off with the waterproof and dustproof ratings, all those sorts of things. So we've got the Emberton IPX7 rated. So basically it's waterproof, but they've not really tested it on sort of dustproof side of things. The Roam IP67, so waterproof and dustproof. We've then got the JBL, the Flip 5. This is IPX7 rated as well. And then the UE Boom IP67 rated. So basically what that means is that they're all waterproof to the same standard. So up to 30 minutes in water of a meter's worth deep. But you've got the Roam and the UE Boom, which are also dustproof as well. So just things like, if we're taking it out to the beach, that kind of thing, you'd be slightly more confident in the Roam and the UE Boom than you would be in the other two models here. And one of the great advantages with the UE Boom is that this one is the only one out of the three that actually floats in water as well. So that's quite an important thing to take.
So if you're like a swimming pool, you can just have it floating on the pool, banging out the tunes. The Roam is also good for taking to a lake, isn't it, Louis? You know about that?
Yeah, so this is something that I do need to hold my hands up and come clean about. If you haven't seen our Sonos Roam review video on our channel yet, please make sure you check that out. For those of you guys who have seen that, you'll remember that I did jump in and go for a bit of a swim in a local pond. And it did come across on video that we did only have to test that the once, but to be honest with you, I did drop this speaker originally and did end up losing it in the bottom of the pond for about 3.5 hours. Oh my God, come on. I honestly can't find it. Now, Sonos did state they reckon around about half hour underwater at their sort of that rating. So I will be honest with you, after the half hour mark, I thought that would be game over for the Roam.
I thought it was a goner.
And to pick it up after 3.5 hours of being in at least sort of 3-4 foot worth of water, and for it to just play absolutely perfectly fine was a real kind of, I guess, a surprise. I thought that was dead. But yeah, something.
I guess they put like the minimum weather resistance on there just to cover themselves. But yeah, they wouldn't recommend doing what we did. But
absolutely not.
It's survived it.
I definitely, if the Roam floated like the UE Boom did, that would have been a much shorter day, and I definitely wouldn't have needed a really long 3-hour warm soak in the bath after that one.
I guess it is a bit of a disclaimer. We need to say, please do not drop this in the lake intentionally.
Yes.
Or any of those really. I mean, if you accidentally knock it into a jacuzzi, into a pool, jacuzzi, whatever, then rescue it immediately. We're not saying like go out and leave them underwater. But,
definitely not. Don't replicate that. So another thing to talk about in terms of durability is obviously how drop-proof it is and how hard wearing it's going to be out and about, especially for someone like myself. Now, what's really interesting with the UE Boom in particular is the fabric that it's made from. So it's the same sort of materials that are used in motorbike jackets and fire equipment. And I think that's really quite interesting. I mean, you actually claimed that this is pretty much indestructible. It went through 25 plus tests that they did in terms of drop-proofing and all that kind of thing. So I think that's really interesting and definitely something that stands out to me above the the other portable speakers that we've got here today in this lineup.
Yeah.
And then moving down to the JBL. Again, as I mentioned earlier, in kind of like the design, I like the materials that this is made from. It feels quite rugged, quite hard wearing. I'd be pretty confident if I was to accidentally drop this, knock this off the side onto gravel, you know, into a lake or a pond, and that kind of thing. And I'll be pretty confident that it would survive without too much trouble.
I think these two fabrics are, you know, that's what gives them the edge with portability, durability over these two.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Roam, it's more of a plasticky sort of covering. So you don't get, so if you drop this, especially with the white color, if you drop this in a like gravel, you'll see that in Louis' durability bit on the Sonos Roam review. But we saw some like dents and nicks that you know, inevitably were going to happen on this material and this color.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I'm not going to be doing that as much. I'm not going to be taking it on wild adventures. I'm just going to, you know, I just want the portability. I want to be able to take it out. If it rains, then fair enough. It won't, you know, I've got the confidence in it to last.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, I agree that these are more durable. There's no getting away from that, but I don't necessarily need that. Touch on the Emberton as well, because this is more like a rubbery sort of material. It goes all around the edges and, you know, all around the circumference of the speaker. It's, I mean, it's not as durable as these two. I would say it's probably on par with the Sonos Roam, or there or thereabouts. This metal grille, I think, is a really nice addition. That feels really, really nice and solid. You don't get that with the other speakers, but it's not, obviously, it's not as durable as those two.
Yeah. So in terms of scoring these out of 10, then for their durability, portability, I think, you know, in terms of just portability quickly, in terms of weight, size, they're all, you know, there's not really too much difference between them. So I think that doesn't really come into it that much. Obviously, you have got the extra little attachments here on the UE Boom and the JBL, which is a nice little feature. But I think it comes down to durability. So for me, I'm going to score the UE Boom a 9.
Yeah, I would agree.
For that one.
Yeah, you can't deny it. You just can't deny it.
No, I think so. Moving down then, the JBL, I'm going to go for an 8 on this one here. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, again, it's the same. It's the same sort of theme with the Ultimate Ears Boom 3. Yeah. But it's just not quite as rugged. I mean, the fabric is not quite as tight if I really grip it as the Ultimate Ears Boom 3.
And I think that is the separating factor for me. It's just that material that it's made from.
Yeah.
So moving down onto the Roam, I'm going to give this a 6 purely based off of my experience. I know I did treat it maybe a little bit more harshly than most people probably would. So I'm going to go for a 6.
For me, I'd give it a 7 because I'd give it another little point because for me personally, I don't need it to withstand all of what Louis needs it to withstand. So I'm going to give it an extra point there, but I do agree that it could go further, closer to these speakers.
And then finally, moving on to the Emberton, I'm going to go for a 7.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, everything with what you just said, I agree. So moving on to our final section, battery life, which is really important in a portable speaker. So if we start off with our out and out battery life, Marshall has the best battery life of 20 hours, which is actually quite good. The Roam only has half that at 10 hours, but we did actually manage to get 13 hours out of it in our testing. But of course, do be aware, because Sonos do make you aware that, of course, because it's a Wi-Fi speaker, there's plenty of other factors at play that might sort of differentiate it a little bit.
So moving on to the JBL and the UE Boom. So we've got a 12-hour battery life out of the JBL, and then the UE Boom, we've actually got 15 hours. So again, not quite as much as the Emberton, but the second highest out of the 4 that we've got here.
Yeah. So if we come back to the Marshall Emberton a second, I think one of its best features is its quick charge feature. Yeah. So if you charge this for 20 minutes, you get 5 hours out of it. So that is really practical and useful if, say, you're off to an event and you forgot to charge your portable speaker, it's dead, you need to quickly boost it, you'll get 5 hours out of it, and that should see you through. Yeah,
I think that's absolutely huge. You know, you're thinking like, I'm going out somewhere, whatever, forgot to charge the speaker overnight, something like that. 20 minutes to get 5 hours, that should see you through.
That is unheard of.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
General recharge time from 0 to 100 is 3 hours. Yeah. So on the Roam, they don't actually state the recharge time. That might be because you might be using your own USB-C cable to charge it. There's loads of different USB-C chargers you can use. Yeah. 2.5 hours on the recharge time for the JBL Flip, and then 3 hours recharge time on the UE Boom 3.
Yeah. Okay, so all of these speakers, in terms of actually charging them, we can all use USB-C for these, other than the UE Boom, which uses a micro USB. So you might argue that these are slightly more future-proof than the UE Boom. However, one really important thing to mention is that with the UE Boom, you can actually buy a separate power dock to charge that speaker.
And that does remind me, actually, you can use the Roam with wireless charging as well, which is really useful to have.
Yeah. So in terms of scoring these out of 10 then, battery life, I think we're going to be pretty similar on these 4 speakers here. I think for me, what cannot be overlooked is the fact that a 20-minute, quick charge, you get 5 hours worth of battery life. I think for me, that's a standout feature. So I'm going to go with the Emberton as my favorite here. I'm going to give that one a 9.
I'd agree, 9, yeah, out and out.
And then moving down, in terms of like recharge time, overall battery life, the fact that you can get a separate power dock if you want to, I'm going to go for an 8, I think here.
Yeah,
on,
I'm
on
with
the
you there.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then for the 2 in the middle, the Roam and the JBL, I'm going to go for a 7.
Yeah,
I
solid
think.
7.
Yeah.
You can't really, there's nothing too out of the ordinary going on here. You can expect, 10 hours from portable speaker. I think that's pretty up there.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of the portable speaker showdown. So we're going to tally up our scores and see what speakers came out on top.
So starting off with myself, so I've reordered these in how they came out. So JBL Flip 5 came out 33 out of 50 for me, so 4th place, aka last. So yeah, the reason for that is just it's a good speaker. There's no denying that, but it's just not my cup of tea. It's not the right sort of listening experience for me. Moving on to the Marshall Emberton, I actually thought that this was going to be higher up in my list, but actually only scored 1 point higher than the Flip 5 at 34. The main reason for that is that it's just lack of features. You do have that quick recharge time, but I don't think that alone is enough to sway me from the Roam and the Ultimate Ears. But it's a good speaker nonetheless, and it does provide a good listening experience. Next up, we've got the Ultimate Ears Boom 3 at 38 out of 50. So a little jump up. Now the main reason for that is just you cannot deny its durability. This material, it's going to fare well in all sorts of environments. It's really, I personally love the listening experience on it as well. It is bassy, but I'm used to that sort of thing. As long as it doesn't ruin the other parts of the track, which I think it does preserve quite well. So good balance there. And then the winner for me is the Sonos Roam, 39 out of 50. So only just beating the Ultimate Ears, but it's just the feature set. I mean, you get everything you could possibly want in a portable speaker and more. Because it's Wi-Fi based, it's always going to get better as well. You've got the software updates. They might even add another hour battery life like they did with the Move. It's just a lot more going on. For £159, I think, that pips it for me.
Okay, so I've reordered them in the correct order.
Wow. Yeah.
So again, starting with the lowest ranked speaker out of 50 for me, up to the highest here. So we're going to start with the Emberton. I've given this one 31 out of 50. Again, we've already gone over loads of different points, reasons as to why. I think largely it just comes down to the design of the overall speaker. It's just not a speaker that I'm a fan of in terms of the design, and I'm not really after that many features, but for me I think the other 3 speakers in comparison do have slightly more to offer than what the Emberton does. So that's why I've gone for 31 out of 50 on that one. Next one, moving up to the Roam. Jonathan, I know you have this one as your first place. For me, it's 3rd. I've given this one 36 out of 50 in total across the board. Again, I think this is largely due to sort of just personal experience on the durability side of things. I just want something that's a little bit harder wearing than what the Roam is. And as we've already referred to, I've dropped this a number of times. And, it's just aesthetically, you get these little dings, scratches, that kind of thing. Great speaker, but for me, I'm really quite torn between these 2 here, the JBL and the UE Boom. So it's very close. I've actually gone for 38 out of 50 on the JBL. A lot of that is just comes down to the features, actually, I think, in what sort of separates it between the UE Boom. I think these are both really quite rugged, hard-wearing speakers that I could be really confident sort of chucking in a rucksack, taking out and about. I think these 2 have always been sort of stand out across the comparisons that we've been doing, just for the bass, the loudness, the ability to feel that slightly larger area. And I guess when it all comes down to it, it's only separated by a point, but I've gone 39 out of 50 overall on the UE Boom. Again, very, not too much between these at all, but one of the biggest factors is that in terms of like the durability and stuff, this one floats over these 3, which is something that obviously to me might come in handy a little bit more than the rest of them. So yeah, that's my scores. That one there for me, 39 out of 50 out of the 4 that we've got here. that's where my preference would be.
Right, so it's really important to understand that, of course, none of these speakers scored 50 out of 50. We'd never do that. That obviously, every speaker is going to have its flaws for different people. Like the Emberton came fourth for Louis, came third for me. Doesn't mean it's a bad speaker. I'd be more than happy with it.
Yeah. No, and I mean, you know, to be fair, like we've said, these are all four fantastic speakers, you know, especially when you consider the price point. I would be more than happy to have any one of these, you know, at home and take out and about. And I'd be fairly confident, you know, on my adventures and all that they'd be able to
and that's
withstand.
why we sell the Emberton, because we're not going to sell anything that we don't like ourselves, obviously. So and because we have a smaller range of speakers on our website, it means we can be ultra critical about which ones we sell. We can test them out. So yeah, don't get the wrong ideas.
So likewise with the JBL, this is a speaker that we'd love to sell on our website, but unfortunately JBL aren't quite playing ball with us at the moment. So
yeah, just tag us down in the comments below if you really want to see us sell it, or just contact JBL and say, why not Smart Home Sound?
Yeah. So as we know, the portable speaker market is extremely competitive, especially now more than ever, and there's always loads of new speakers entering the market.
Yeah, one new speaker we're really excited about is the Biosound Explore from Bang & Olufsen. That's going to be sold for £169, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be going live on our website very soon, and a video will be coming soon as well.
So the big question is, are you Team Louis or are you Team Jonathan? It would be really interesting to hear your points of view in the comments section below, and let us know what you think. Where would you rank these speakers if you were comparing the four of them? What speaker would work best for you? It'd be really interesting to hear your points of view.
As always, if you do want to see more content from us and you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and consider subscribing if you want to catch us on the next video. Thanks ever so so thanks guys ever so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you for what? It's just not going to sound right.
Say cheers, guys.
Yeah, I was about to see you guys. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Like, don't say thanks, guys, and I'm like, yeah, thanks, guys.
Watching, and we'll hopefully see you on the next video.
Cheers, guys.